Hey guys, it's Fonzie with DipYourCar.com. I'd say in the past 4 months, I could count probably about 375 emails and requests. When are you going to do a video to show how to do the entire car using the car kit? Well, today's actually the day. I have the S4, we have the USP Motorsports show coming up tomorrow, and we're going to be bringing the whole crew out there. So we want to redo the S4. I'm going to be doing the matte black around the entire car, and then gloss black wheels and gloss black grille. So what I'm going to take you through in this video is every single part of the process, step by step, from what you actually get in the Pro Car Kit, how to actually prep the car, the different pieces of masking and taping, and then loading the gun and get you comfortable with the gun that you're going to use, and then we're actually going to paint the car. We're going to videotape the entire process. So finally we're doing the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Fonzie from DipYourCar.com. Okay guys, I'm going to take you through the different parts of the car that we are going to prep, and then surprise you a little bit with the pieces of the car that we're not going to have to prep at all. So starting with the front, all I did with the grille is I removed the plastic shield that goes above the grille, and I put some cardboard down behind the grille to prevent the dip going through to the radiator. As far as the headlights, we're going to leave the headlights unmasked and unprepped. What we're going to do is actually dip right over them, and then when it's time, we're just going to peel off the dip. It'll perfectly etch around the headlight. Coming around the side here, we're going to go in. We're going to tape off the brakes and calipers on the wheels. We're going to do the windows. We're going to tape off the windows, and we're going to tape off the actual glass piece of the mirror. And then around the back, again, just the windshield there. We're going to utilize bed sheets and some tape and newspaper for that. Took off the license plate and tail lights just like the front. We're not going to mask those. We're going to go right over it and peel it off. And that's pretty much it. We're going to do it on both sides. I'll take you through step by step. Okay, the first piece is the smallest piece is this mirror here. We're just going to utilize the blue painter's tape. You want to take the tape all the way to the edge because there's a pretty big gap between the actual mirror and where the glass is. So we're going to take the tape all the way to the edge there. And we don't want it to touch any of the black. And if it goes around, just fold it underneath. Alright, we've got the entire mirror here taped off. We just want to make sure it's not touching anywhere. And we're just going to move on to the window trim now. Okay guys, for the windows, we're going to go around the edges and do a border of tape first. On this car, I've got upper window trim here, and then I've got the rubber that's actually sealed to the door. And what I'm going to do is go in with the tape about halfway up the rubber that's attached to the door, all the way around on top. Okay, now for the bottom, we've got the bottom window trim here, and then we've got the rubber seal here. And what we don't want to do is go halfway onto the window trim. Reason why is because the window trim, it's dipped right now, and we want to keep it dipped. I don't want that chrome. So actually on the bottom, I'm going to take the tape just to the edge and overlap onto that rubber seal. Okay, now that we've got the top and the bottom all sealed off around the border, I'm going to take tape, and I'm actually going to get these sharp angles in these small areas done with tape, just because it's faster. And you receive 3 rolls of the blue painter's tape in the Pro Car Kit. And now that we're getting more to that open area here, we're going to utilize some newspaper and just do it the old school way. Just keep it on the tape. And you get the idea. We're just trying to cover the windows. Okay, we've got the majority of the windows here taped off. I'm just going to fill in these small areas with the tape. And then just take a walk around and make sure that the edges are all down flat. Make sure you've got a nice seam. Because you know what, at the end of the day, it's still Plasti Dip, so it's all removable. The prepping and the taping is really just, it's like a rule. The better you prep and the better you tape, the easier the cleanup is going to be when you do the breakdown afterwards. So now we're just going to move back over. I'm going to show you what I did for the rear windshield. The rear windshield in the part of the roof, whenever you can, utilize something like an old bed sheet, because you can go through, a whole bunch of different newspaper. The bed sheet will cover a lot of area. Now, don't be afraid. You see this big gap? That might look like a spot that I missed, but actually I really want to leave a big gap like this because it's going to cover most of the windshield, but this is going to have a nice solid thick stream of Plasti Dip, and when everything dries I'm going to be able to peel this up and it'll cut the edge. If I tried to use tape to get this edge perfect, I'm going to end up missing a spot, or the Plasti Dip will bond with the tape, and when I pull the tape up it's going to screw my edge up. So we want to leave nice big gaps like that all the way around. Okay, no, we're just extending the newspaper and the bed sheet onto the windshield here, and I really wanted to do this with household materials, just so you guys could do it with the same type stuff. Now it's really important to tuck some of the newspaper down underneath the front of the hood here, because you really want to protect those mechanisms that that have your windshield wipers and stuff like that down there. But the trick really is, don't bring the tape too close to any edge. Give yourself a nice area to build up a thick strip of Plasti Dip, because if you're going to be peeling, there's no difference between peeling this much or this much, and actually you're going to get a better pull on it if you have a thicker piece. Okay, now the last piece to the puzzle is masking off the brakes. Now I'm going to be redoing the wheels while they're on the car, like I usually do. I'm going to give them a fresh coat. So what you want to do is you want to take your tape and basically you want to reach in, if your wheel design will allow you to, and you want to mask off the rotors and the calipers. Is it going to kill it if a little bit of Plasti Dip gets on? No, but I mean, obviously it's common sense. You want to keep rubber out of your brake mechanisms. So just take your time, work your way around the rotor and around the caliper until you have full coverage. Alright. Okay, I'm just putting the last couple pieces on, and we're going to do all 4 wheels like this. Now, if you're not Plasti Dipping your wheels and you're just doing the body of your car, you could just drape a bed sheet or something over your wheel, or just avoid it, really. But I am going to be doing a fresh coat on the wheels, so I wanted to make sure my brakes were protected. Okay, we've got the car all masked up and ready and prepped. Now the easy part, actually getting the paint done. So you get the Wagner Control Spray Double Duty in the kit. This is the best one for the job, specifically because it gives a very fine misted spray, and it comes out super smooth finish when you're done. So this is my personal one. This is one I've used for several years now. What you're going to do is the obvious. The gun, the way it's set up is you've got your trigger. There's a little dial on here that lets out either more or less product the more you turn the dial. My suggestion is turn it down, not all the way down, but pretty much down to almost where it's on the least product setting. And when you're doing your test sprays, see how it comes out and get to a point where you're comfortable with it. When you're comfortable with the spray and the pattern and how much product's coming out, then go with that. The things you want to keep in mind is you don't want to put too much on at one time, because it could run. You can get uneven spots. As you see when we're going to be painting, you want very light coats, evenly dusting back and forth. So we're going to load the hopper here with our paint. This is the dipyourcar.com pre-thinned gallons that we sell on the website, and this is black for today. What we're going to start with is a funnel. And we're going to load this in. You don't want to overfill it. Go a little bit more than halfway to start with. And the way it works is you just set the gun right on top and then just work it in. Now yours is going to be obviously brand new. You can tell mine has gotten some good use out of it. And you want to go all the way until it's tight. Okay. Alright. Okay, so I've got the gun loaded up. You can tell there's a little bit of a dead zone where if you pull the trigger, the motor turns on, but the product doesn't start coming out until you really depress the trigger. So I'm just going to get the paint primed in the gun and do a couple test sprays. sure everything's working properly. Everything seems to be coming out nice and smooth. So I'm going to come over here and we're going to start doing the car piece by piece. Okay, what I'm going to do is start on the side because spraying forward is the easiest, and then we're going to do the hard part the last, which is the hood. So I'm going to work my way up and down this side, and then I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to hit the back, and then we're going to go to the hood and get our first coat on. So here's where you really want to pay attention. You're not, even though this professional gun is going to help you a lot, you're not just standing there and using your wrist and going back and forth. There's an actual system to getting this a really well done finish. And here's the system. I'm going to stay about 6 to 8 inches away. I'm going to lock my wrist, and then I'm just going to move the gun back and forth. I'm going to release the trigger, and then I'm going to engage the trigger again as I go back. So you're going to hear the motor running, but the product is really only coming out on each pass. So we're going to take it stride by stride, and hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's coat 1 on the first section, and you want to use things like doors and stuff like that to section off the car. The second section will be the back of this door to the front fender. Now if you see any debris on the car, like I just see this little piece of grass here, get it off the car before you start putting too many coats on, because once that's in there, it's not coming off. When doing things like the mirrors, you really want to just pay attention to the angles that you're spraying on. Guys, I'm reloading the gun right now. One thing I wanted to show you is that this straw, if you take a look at this straw, that comes in the kit, and it's interchangeable. You can have it pointing different directions, and what you really want to do is have it pointing down and in front of you, because a lot of times you're going to see yourself angling the gun down, and if the straw is facing the wrong way, you're not going to be pulling the paint. Okay guys, we're going to be doing the hood now. The hood is the same principle as the car. You want to keep the same spraying distance the best you can, back and forth, nice even passes. As you can tell, this is only our first coat. We're barely even getting 50% transparency. So don't try and go too fast. Now when you're going to get to the sides, you want to come around to the sides. And hit it from the back. Okay, this is just after our first coat. As you can see, it looks like a zebra basically. It's got stripes and spots all over it. This is okay. This is what you want on your first coat. The reason why is you know that you're not putting up too much product at one time. You know you're not going to get runs or bubbles. The hood has these stripes over it, the ones that you guys usually see when you start having these problems. But watch what happens coat by coat. By the third coat, you're going to start to see that finish come together and get even. One thing I've noticed is around the back, you've got to keep your eye out after your first coat for some areas that you didn't get good coverage in. One of those areas on this S4 is you've got these ledges here that go on the inside of the rear windshield, and then up this ridge that goes up around the roof all the way through. So I need to go back with that gun and make sure I cover those areas. Okay guys, we've got our first coat on there. We've let it sit for about 8 or 10 minutes now. We're going to go back with coat number 2. Now with coat number 2, you've got a different approach. You're going to start to slow things down a little bit more. Still keep it moving. Don't let it sit in one place for in the same spot. But we are going to slow the pace down, and you'll see the paint fall a little bit thicker and start making that coverage. Okay guys, this is I'm going to take you a tour around the car after just 2 coats. As you can see, we've got maybe a 65-70% transparency that's building up nice and slow. We've got a couple areas that we're going to have to come back and visit. Behind the handles here on the door, a couple of the angles I've missed around the gas cap. But if you look around, you know, we've got pretty smooth, even coverage. The zebra stripiness is starting to go away a little bit more. The hood is still spotty because we're building this up the slowest out of all the spots. Okay guys, we're going to take you on a walk around the car real quick. We've got 5 full coats on, real flush, even tone all the way through, nice and smooth. We've given it a full half hour to dry, and what we're going to do now is go back and start unmasking the windows. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the tape. We're going to let We're going to let that automatic cut work for us. Go. Alright, now we're going to start removing all the masking from the windshield and the roof. You can leave the trimmings of the Plasti Dip there. We're going to go back and clean that up after. This is that big strip I told you guys about that we wanted to leave. See how easy this is to come off? If this was a thin little strip, it'd take a lot longer to clean that up. Okay guys, it's a little bit low on light right now, as you can see. It's a little bit later in the day, but we're going to go around right now and we're going to peel off the Plasti Dip off the taillights and the headlights. So this is why I tell you guys it's not necessary to tape off and mask the lights, because the gap between the light and the body of the car will actually cut it perfectly. A lot better actually than you or I could tape it, and it all will come off in relatively one piece. And you step back and there's your tail light. And we're going to move over to this side of it. Just roll it down with your thumb to get it started, and you just gently work your way around. If you put enough coats on, which, you know, 5 or 6 coats like we suggest, this is going to be real easy to peel off. There you go, there's your tail light. Alright. There's our headlight.